Come on. You
No,
always,
Twitter fingers getting at you again.
you know what? I hadn't. I shut my social media off, and I ain't even. I'm not even worried about it. I'm sure they are. I get a lot. I get a lot of text messages from friends just encouraging me, but I hadn't. I hadn't seen anything. But it is what it is. It's part of it. Comes with the nature of the position. So that's kind of their space. I'm gonna let them have their space.
Tony, what do you see as the issues with the offense there, and when is the point when things are what they are instead of
Right.
we're going to be able to fix it?
Biggest thing is we're just out of sync right now, and it's 10 guys and then one guy not doing the right thing, or it's 9 and you got 2 guys not doing the right thing, and some of that can be, attributed to youth. Guys just, in the game speed's a little bit different, even though practice speed is pretty fast here for us on our practice field. It still happens fast in the game, and it takes time just to kind of work through those things to be able to anticipate. Some of the mistakes were some of the younger guys. From a quarterback perspective, we got to do a better job up front just to make him get comfortable again. Thought he made some progress, in terms of in the previous games of sitting in the pocket, but I thought he got a little antsy again and kind of moved in the pocket when he didn't need to. So just things we got, and I think all the guys, the staff, everybody felt like this was the game, and I think it's a couple plays too. I think if we score on that first drive, we hit that little dump to Shipley, he's gonna have a big play. We score on the second drive, then we come back and we at least, get some momentum on those next couple of drives. It could be a completely different outcome, and all it takes is a little bit of momentum. So, I don't think we're at that point where it is what it is yet, but we just got to continue to figure out get the right pieces in place. Just really kind of, assess and say what each individual can do, and then try to build our plans towards putting them in a position to be successful.
DJ, after Georgia, he took the blame for that. After Georgia Tech, he told us it was his fault. Again, he's probably going to tell us, he's probably going to take the blame for NC State. How wearing is that mentally on a young guy still trying to figure things out?
Well, first of all, that's just the type of young man that he is, and he understands the magnitude of the position that he's in. That you get a lot of the credit, but you get all the blame too. And he's been in a good spot. I haven't seen any changes in his demeanor. I think he understands that. He knows that's the right thing to do. But it's not all on his shoulders. There are a lot of things. There's things I can do better. From a coaching staff standpoint, we all can do things better. Each individual player can do things better. So it's not all on him. He is the face, yes, so he gets the majority of the blame. He does have to improve some of the things that he can control, but some of the things he's taken responsibility for are actually out of his control.
Two-part question for you.
Yes, sir.
Anybody that's ever held an Xbox or a PlayStation thinks they can call plays. It's come under fire. And,
Yeah.
RG3 says it's archaic. Some people say it's vanilla, too conservative.
Yeah.
First part would be, how do you respond to that? And then second part would be, I saw Brandon Streeter very animated on the headsets against Georgia Tech.
Mm-hmm.
How much does he have input on the plays? How much does Coach Sweeney?
Yeah.
Or all three of you kind of calling plays? How does
Yeah.
that dynamic work?
Well, I call the plays, but I get input. I rely on those guys to just give me suggestions because I trust their eyes and what they've seen. They've been a part of the process. And the response that I would have to archaic is it's the same plays that they're running at North Carolina. It's the same plays that's being run all around the country. We're just not having success. We're not executing at a high level. So there's going to be critics. It comes with the territory. We just got to do a better job of executing the plays. You execute the plays, you have success, you score points. Then it's not questioned as much. So that would just be my response to that. But definitely rely on all those guys to assist and just give me information throughout the course of the game to help try and find the right calls for the guys. And at the same time too, when you're struggling, everyone wants you to go be creative and think outside the box. Well, you got to be able to execute the fundamentals, first and foremost, and that's where we got to get better.
Tony, with the running game, is it simply better execution, better push from the offensive line, or do you have to start scheming around maybe some of your deficiencies to improve that area?
I think it's a combination of a couple of things. Finding the right combination of guys up front, and then making sure that they understand the schematics, the details of what we're trying to do, and then young backs too. Sometimes with the young backs they get a little antsy. There are a couple plays where if we stayed on the right track and we trusted it, man, it was going to result in some big plays. So it's a combination of a couple of things. And then the last couple of weeks, schematically too, you got to work around. And so when you play that 3-man front, especially with the the alignments that they're playing with their defensive ends, you got to do some different things with your tackles, which is new, for guys. And so you get a week of preparation throughout the course of the week, but still you got to go execute, and it's a little bit different nuances than what they've been doing, up to that point.
Tony, the offensive line has obviously drawn a lot of the focus, some of its struggles, but how would you say that the blocking on the perimeter has maybe hamstrung in some cases your ability to run outside, do some of the horizontal things that you would normally like to do?
I thought that Georgia Tech, they made an improvement there. I think that where we got to get better is just finishing off blocks. I think we initially get things started, but we got to play all the way through the whistle and finish those blocks, because that's what results in those explosive plays. I think about one in particular, the screen to Ross. We just threw a bubble out there to Ross, and he makes a jump cut. Well, if we hold that block just a little bit longer, man, he's going to take off, he's going to run. But we don't, and now we get tackled by the ankle. And then you think back to Georgia Tech, when Shipley's, when he's working and he busts that run, if we just finish that block, on the third level, he's going to spring for a touchdown. So we just all got to do a better job of the details, the footwork, the hand placement, the understanding, and then just that relentless finish, all the way through the whistle. And then just understanding, and we got to do a good job as coaches too of pointing out to those guys, how that extra effort can turn into big plays in the run game.
Tony, with the details, is it some of the same mistakes that were happening early on, or do you feel like those are getting corrected and new things are?
I think it's a combination of both. You'll see a couple of mistakes. One in particular I can think about. I know showed up in the game. It's a young guy, but we got to get that corrected. And then you're playing some new guys, and then you're playing against a new structure. So some of the fundamentals are going to be a little bit different too, as opposed to what you were doing prior to seeing that particular structure.
It seemed like at the end of the first quarter, Dabo was pretty upset with Kobe, just with him taking on a new role right now. How do you feel like he is ready for this new expanded role, and just moving into your big
Well, it's next man up, so he's got to be ready, and we felt good. He had a great spring, felt good, coming out of fall camp. Was the first guy to run out there, and still believe in Kobe, but at the same time too, he's a redshirt freshman. He played a little bit last year, but now he's got to really embrace this role, and it's always different, when you have to go in there and be the guy, every single snap. I think there's not that it's added pressure, but it's a different level of intensity that you gotta have.
Tony, this may seem like a silly question, but
Yep.
does anybody reach out to Lynn Jay and say, hey, we could use you right now?
Not that I'm aware of. I know he's made his decision, and not to my knowledge.
Coach, how do things shake out behind Kobe? How do you see that coming into place?
Yeah, so you got Mikey Dukes. He's a guy that's been, for us, we felt like he's been very talented. Just got to be more consistent, be more detailed. Then you got Phil Maffa as well, and then you got a Darian Rencher. So you'll roll with those four guys.
How about Maffa? Can you tell us a little bit more about him?
Yeah, Maffa's he's a big back. Very smooth. I think once you guys see him take off and run, he'll remind you of Choice. Wears the same number, but his running style, he's a big guy, but he runs with good forward lean, very smooth, and has deceptive speed, for a guy his size.
Tony, how many of these issues have caught y'all off guard as a staff, or how many did you feel like going into the year that there would be some growing pains?
I think you knew, just with the transition and the movement up front, that there was going to be some growing pains. You knew you're moving a new guy to center. You're trying to find a new left guard. You got a new right tackle. He's played a little bit, but now you got a new starter at right tackle. So you knew it was going to take a little bit of time to improve there. DJ, we knew that he had 2 games. His body of work was 2 games. But we knew that he's very, very talented and very, very capable. But there was also going to be, a learning curve there as the full-time starter, especially when people are now, starting to plan against you in particular. And then in the run game, again, going back to the new moving parts, it was just going to take a little bit of time for us to get it figured out. And we just had some outside of last week, we just had some strange situations too, from a game to game standpoint that we didn't anticipate that. You didn't anticipate a couple of those things early on.
You said a few minutes ago that you're not quite at the point where it is what it is yet. What do you do if that does happen?
I don't know. We've got to figure that out when we get to that point. All I know is we got a group of young men that care. That come to work every single day. Amidst all of the stuff that's going on around them. You gotta. at the same point, at some point, you got to look back and say, hey, these are 18, 19, 20-year-old kids, that live in the space of social media, that are being attacked every single day, right, and questioned, and they're the ones in the arena, so that's got to be frustrating. But to see these guys come in with a good attitude every single day and come to work and fight, take ownership of the mistakes and try to push forward, that lets you know that you're not at that point. When you got guys that are playing hard, that they won't quit, and as bad as it was, it came down to a couple plays. There was two instances down there in that last drive where we had a chance. We hit that first play, get a little bit better throw, we make that catch, it's a touchdown. Now we got to go for two to tie the game, or on that fourth down play, DJ put the ball where it needed to be. If we can just free our hands up and make a play on the ball, still we're not where we need to be, but it's at least they're in position to make a play, and they'll learn from that and they'll move forward.
But then I know you said after the game you didn't have a great look at Ross's play.
Yeah.
What did he lose the ball or?
Yeah. We don't get him till this afternoon to be able to find out exactly what happened. It looks like he was being held on his left shoulder, so I don't know if he could get his left arm up, but not sure what happened with his right hand.
Coach, speaking of Justin Ross, he had 75% of DJ's completions. He had over 50% of the targets. What do you attribute to the lack of an ability to spread the ball around to and get other guys involved?
Well, I think part of it is a lot of those came in the run game too. They were outlets in the run game, and he's in a position from that standpoint. And then we were specific in some of the third down situations, trying to go to him and trying to, right now he's been making plays for us, so he was the guy that we were targeting. And then, try to get the ball. There was a couple calls. We're trying to get the ball to EJ as well. Trying to get the ball to number 10. But at the same time too, you got defensive structure, so the quarterback's got to be the quarterback, and he's got to kind of, go through his progression and take what they give you.